on. I'm locking in. Locking in.
You. Hey, forensic friends. Welcome back to the Humans of Forensics podcast. Today we are here with my dad, Carey Widbur. Say hi.
Hi, good evening.
Can you start by introducing yourself, your name, your job, and your interests?
My name is Carey Widbur. I'm a senior police constable with the Ontario Provincial Police, stationed at the Primrose office of the Dufferin Detachment in Central Region, Southern Ontario.
Oh, thank you. How did you know that you wanted to pursue policing as a job?
Initially, I didn't know that I wanted to become a police officer, but I had an opportunity to do a ride along with a police service in New Zealand when I was an exchange student when I was a teenager, and I had an opportunity to ride along with the City of Auckland Police Service, which piqued my interest. They showed me boats and airplanes and patrol vehicles,
That's
things
cool.
of that nature while I was down there. And when I returned to Canada after my year abroad, I started focusing on law courses in high school
Yeah.
and did a ride along with the Ontario Provincial Police in my my grade 13 year. Grade 13 still existed at that time.
It still does.
And no, it's called OMAP or something, isn't it?
I don't know.
OACP.
Victor
And
Victory Lap.
and after that that final year, that's when I decided that I would try to pursue a career in policing.
So, aside from your co-op program, what's the process needed to become a police officer?
Well, no, I've been a police officer 30 years, uh, and it certainly has changed in the time since I applied. But now, certainly a clean, not back in my day as well, you couldn't have a criminal record. I do know now that for some minor offenses, when you're a young offender or a young adult, they will waive the fact that maybe you were charged with a minor mischief or something on the low scale. Um, but you know what, Canadian, no, not even don't even have to be a Canadian citizen, to be honest. A landed immigrant or a citizen of the province that you're residing in, a minimum grade 12 education, some worldly experience. If you have some experience out in the workforce, like I did after college, I had almost 2 years working out and worked in a car plant. And yeah.
So, would you say someone in at like UTM in a forensic science program could they just go straight into police college like that sort of application,
They
or?
they could. Honestly, there is a one of my coworkers is a graduate of UTM.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to say her name, but she's a young lady that went to UTM and did forensics. I'm not sure what she specialized in, to be honest, but she took the bio and the chemistry that you absolutely hate and detest.
Okay. What?
A number of those courses as well. And when she graduated, you got to be physically fit because there is a physical aspect to it as well.
Yeah.
So, but when she graduated, she was young and fit and eager, and she applied to, I think there were two other services prior to the OPP, but straight out of UTM within a year, she was a police officer.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Can you describe like your day-to-day routine, your life as a police officer?
Okay, so with the OPP, we work shifts 6 in the morning to 6 p.m. as our day shifts, and our night shifts are 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I just worked the day shift today. I'm up at quarter to five. I'm up and moving at quarter to five. I'm out the door between five. Well, I should back that up. The night before, pack your lunch,
Yes.
set out your clothes, get everything ready to go. Because in the morning, I'm a bit of a zombie. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to wake up, throw my lunch into the cooler, and get out the door.
Yeah.
Now, some officers show up at 5 to 6. If I'm not early, I'm late.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And you know that
Well,
because
me
I drive you
too.
guys crazy,
Oh
right?
well. Yeah.
With that kind of stuff. So if I'm not early, I'm late. So if I'm not in the building, and luckily my place of work is only a 5-10 minute drive. If I'm not at my place of work at 5:15, there's something wrong.
That is so early.
And I'm grabbing a coffee on the way
Yeah.
and an apple fritter.
And apple. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Classic. Yeah.
And then I'll park at the office. And because I'm a senior guy and I do have responsibilities as a second in command of this particular shift, first place I go to is the night shift boss.
Mm-hmm.
What happened last night? Is there anybody in the cells that's going for a bail hearing this morning we got to worry about? Are there any cars busted? Did anybody that's coming in on my day shift sick?
Mm-hmm.
Because then I got to cover spots. I got to cover bodies. What were the big calls last night? Does anything from last night need to be worked on today? Which means my guys are getting stuck with your call from last night.
Mm-hmm.
Either you couldn't get it done or whatever. And that's the fine. Team. We will work together to do this stuff. 5:35, 5:40, I get into my uniform and my equipment in the change room, grab a set of car keys, and the beauty of my shift is we all have our own particular vehicle that we like. So I grab my car keys, I go to the armory, I get my pistol, my taser, my magazines, my radio, my body cam, my C8, which is our long gun, carbine gun. Out to the car, load up the car. Then I get my briefcase. My car in the OPP world is my office.
Yeah.
If I can't get back to detachment to do work, I can do everything I have to do from the car. Everything.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm watching The Rookie. Do you guys call it a shop, or is that just like an American thing?
No, we call it a skate.
A skate?
Yeah, because you're skating around on it.
Oh, okay.
Canadian version.
Anyways.
So, so by 6 o'clock, 6:05, my car's loaded and ready to go. Meanwhile, you've got the radio on in case something comes in and you have to report for duty. Into the office, we use tablets, which go into a docking mount, which allows us to type and use it like a computer. We log into our system, we log into our dispatch area, and the tablets, when a call for service comes in, the call goes to our dispatchers in Aurelia. Aurelia ladies type it up. Then our particular area is broken up into 5 zones. I try to have at least one officer in each of the zones. If for example, Shelburne is zone 5.
Mm-hmm.
If a call comes in for zone 5 and I'm the zone 5 officer that day, it's going to pop up on my tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always watching the tablet or we're listening for it, because when they send you a call, it makes a sound. And then it's just go. The OPP has a big, we call it the Big Four, because primarily back in the day, the OPP patrolled smaller communities and a lot of roadways. So one of the things that we and because we still do, honestly, patrol a lot of highways, a lot of roadways. So our Big Four program is impaired driving, distracted driving, um, speeding, and seatbelts.
Mm-hmm.
So not that police officers have a quota, because we don't have a quota for writing tickets. But if I worked a 12-hour day and I didn't stop somebody for some infraction and either educated them or gave them a ticket, my bosses are going to say you worked 12 hours and didn't do shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is no way that in this particular part of Southern Ontario we're going 12 hours without doing something. For example, I did in Dufferin County today, there were 65 calls.
Oh, wow.
Just between 6 and 6. There were 18 tickets given out. There were 27 vehicle stops. We had 2 ride programs, and we did 4 community services. That's where we stop and go for a walk and meet and greet and talk.
Yeah.
So that's that. But anyways, back to I'm logged on. The computer's logged on, ready to go. So now we're waiting for calls for service, or I go out and I'm going to proactively stop some vehicles for speeding or whatever, and then calls for service come in. Throughout the course of today, being a field coordinator and intoxilizer instructor and impaired specialist, as they call it, in regards, that's where I've kind of branched out in my career now. We have 2 intoxilizer breathalyzer machines in our area. One broke last night.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm responsible for the upkeep of that particular thing. So I tried to fix it for about an hour and a half today. I had to take it out of service. I have to ship it away to get fixed and things of that nature. I also do radar, LiDAR, so radar guns for in the cars and for handheld radars. Same with the lasers. I had a radar gun break today. I was able to fix it. I have to keep inventory and track of that stuff. And then it always happens. You start one job and then you get a call.
Yeah.
And then you get the call and you try to get back to what you're doing. So the whole day is juggled back and forth. There's never any break time. Now we do have an hour lunch break in there somewhere that we're technically allowed to have, but I just eat as I go.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of the day. Then 5 o'clock, back into the office because I'm in my acting role. I have to do a summary of the day to tell the night shift boss that's coming. So the same thing. So now the
Yeah,
night shift
right.
boss is coming in. What's going on today?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had a 4-car crash today, and I got some charges out of that, and this is going on, and we're so and so ran away. We're trying to find this missing person. There's some mental health calls going on, blah blah blah. And then if you're lucky, you're getting undressed at 6.
Yeah.
I was lucky today. I was getting undressed at 5:30, 5:35, because the afternoon got quiet, and the night boss came in and said, "Scoot out of here early." So it's good.
That's
So
good. Yeah.
yeah, so that's the day. But then you could have a day full of court,
Mm-hmm.
where you're testifying in criminal trials, testifying in provincial offenses trials, trespass to property, liquor license act, highway traffic act, things of that nature.
Is that 6 to 6 as well?
It depends. If court is on a day that you're working days, you just go.
Mm-hmm.
If a court is on a day that you're not working, for example, if it was on a day that I was supposed to work nights, but court was in the morning, too bad, so sad. You go to court, you may not get to sleep. If court is all day, and it can be, court can be quick, court can be a week.
Right.
But if court is all day and you still got to work that night, sucks to be you. You're going into work that night.
So is it you're paid for how long you're at court, or is it you're paid for a regular shift?
So if it's a regular shift, you just get paid for your regular day. If you're going to court on time off, it's overtime.
Okay.
So it's time and a half.
Yeah. What was the most challenging part of, or what is the most challenging part of being a police officer?
The most challenging part of being a police officer. When I was young and dumb and single, there were no challenges. It was the major challenge I faced was getting myself out of bed and going to work. Not that I didn't want to go to work, but we were young and living in the city. Like I said, I lived in Toronto for a period of time. It was just getting in and going to work. But then I was always excited to go to work because it's always busy. There's always something different going on. Now, of the difficulties that when you came to being and in the home was not being around for you, and not being home for Christmases and missing birthdays, and missing family events and dance competitions and sports and things like that. But the beauty of working in a small municipal police service was that I could sneak away to meet up with the family and do things of that nature.
So you'd say relationships are probably the hardest part?
The hardest, and some people are going to say, well, what about the things that you see and the things that you do?
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of wild. I'm going to tell you that right now. I've seen a lot of some wild stuff. And people would say, oh, it had to be because it was the city and the city was a crazy place. Honestly, I've seen some crazy stuff out here in the country, here in the small communities. Some of that at times was difficult to deal with, but I had a good family background. Your mom backed me. Grandma and Grandpa Widbur on my side were there to speak, and my coworkers. So that kind of stuff has been good. So that is a difficult aspect, but if you have some way to deal with those difficulties, some coping mechanisms, as the saying is, and I'm fortunate I didn't, based on some of the stuff that I've been a part of, I didn't turn to booze and I didn't turn to drugs and I didn't do anything like that. I had other ways of dealing with that.
Coping mechanisms.
Healthy coping mechanisms. Yes. Maybe a little Call of Duty at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. But I'm gonna say, to sum it up, the biggest difficulties were in regards to relationships, maintaining relationships, having open conversation and dialogue with your mom, knowing that when I came home, she knew I had a bad day or something was going on. She knew that I would eventually discuss things with her and talk to her about it, and her being patient with me and my schedule. Yeah. Because I can technically, I'm off right now, but if they needed people, they could call me right now and I would have to go to work.
Yeah.
So she's well aware of that aspect too. So family and relationships.
Good. Yeah. Very well aware. Do you have any advice to those who want to follow your path?
Follow the path. One, be physically fit. Now, I'm not in the best of shape. I've been on the job 30 years and I might have 10 or 15 extra pounds that maybe I
Right.
don't need,
Right.
but I'm healthy enough that I can still function properly, and I can still, uh, I may not win a fight, but I can handle myself to a point where I can get some assistance and do things. Um, in regards to physical fitness, self defense, jujitsu is always. A lot of people say karate or boxing or MMA, which is fine, but honestly, if you can grapple with jujitsu, we try to tell our new recruits that that's good, because a majority of your scuffles that you're going to get into are going to be a grab and a bear hug and a drop to the ground, and that's what jujitsu is. A lot of that is, so that would be good. Um, get some worldly experience. A lot of people want to come right out of high school, and I do know people who have been hired as police officers straight out of high school, and I know people that have gone to college, university, into policing, and then I know people who have had, and it's very common now for someone to have an initial career path, and at 35 and 40 years of age decide, listen, I want to give policing a shot, and they hire people at that age. They don't, and I don't say they don't want, but a young person coming straight out of college or university, dealing with people at the side of the road, say traffic incidents and speeding, say speeding or something of that nature. And as a young officer, you're going to want to write the tickets, and you're going to want to jam. The term is jam them. We want to jam them. We want to write the tickets. I want to go, 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 go. But as a senior officer, when I see that, I say to myself, does this young person not have any empathy for what's going on here?
Right.
Do they not have any worldly experience? Because, yeah, buddy was doing 25 over, and you're going to give him a ticket for 25 over, and it's $250 and it's 3 points on your driver's license. But do you know that he's driving to the factory because he's got 3 kids at home and he's got bills to pay, and this is
Yeah.
his only vehicle, and now we're hammering him for that fine and putting demerits on his license? Whereas now I've mellowed in age and time. I'm going to give that guy a break. I'm going to lower that speeding ticket down. I'm not going to make it points. I'm going to make it as minimal as I can, and educate that person and say, listen, bud, you know, road safety is most important here, but you got a family at home, and I realize you're late for work, and I'm not going to, so you treat people with respect. They're going to give you that respect back.
Right.
They want some worldly experience so that you're not just a robot
Yeah.
out there, right? So where were we? We went physical fitness, maybe some self-defense, some worldly experience. You do not necessarily have to have a certificate or a degree in policing or criminal justice studies to become a police officer.
Okay.
Like I said, my one buddy that I worked with, straight out of high school, grade 12, straight out of high school. He's very smart, very fit, straight out of high school. Another guy, he had a degree in nuclear medicine,
Oh, wow.
and he on a whim, after getting his degree, he says, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see if I can get hired. And they hired him, but he had no police background. He had none of that stuff. So they take people of all backgrounds, of all race, colors, and creeds. As you know what, as long as you are decently joining, um, to to help your fellow man and woman, to help people as best you can. There are days when you're out there and you go, I haven't really done anything here today to help anybody out by doing paperwork or writing tickets. But then you got to realize, you know what, I've slowed traffic down. I may have saved somebody from driving poorly and getting in a crash. Or
Yeah.
I've walked downtown. Maybe I've made somebody downtown, as I walk around, feel comfortable because there's a police officer here. I feel safe in my community and things of that nature. Um, and look into the organization that you're going to apply to. I applied to Toronto because back in early 1994, a lot of police and municipal police services were not hiring. So I knew going into it that I would have to go to a big city police service. And one of my difficulties was is that I was a farm kid from Shelburne, farm boy from Shelburne,
Yeah.
right? So it was a bit of a culture shock when I did get hired and go to Toronto, but I was able to adapt. But know where you're applying and what you're going to get yourself into. Working in the city, they're short staffed. It's very, very busy, and the possibility or probability of something violent occurring to you during your shift is I can't say greater. I don't have statistics, but the likelihood just based on population wise of you possibly getting hurt or in just a very serious matter, is greater in the city than out in a small rural community, as in Shelburne.
Yeah.
Now, I've been assaulted and hurt in Toronto. I've been assaulted and hurt here in Shelburne, and now in my stint with the OPP detachment, I've been lucky, but there have been a number of times where scuffles happen and things of that nature. So it can happen. But if you want small town policing or the possibility of policing in Northern Ontario communities and in North Central, Aurelia, Gravenhurst, Huntsville area, Sudbury, North Bay, the OPP is always looking for people to go up there. But if you want a little bit of fun and excitement, a little bit more fun and excitement, apply to the Big Five. We called it the Big Five, and that's Durham, Toronto, Peel, Halton, Hamilton, and Niagara. Is that five or is that
I
six?
feel like that was
That
6.
might have been six.
Can I jump back and ask about the jujitsu?
Yeah.
Do they require that you have that sort of training, or is it offered like on the job?
It is not offered on the job.
Okay.
When you go to now, when I was hired in Toronto, Toronto had their own police school. However, to be officially become a police constable in the province of Ontario, you have to spend time at the Ontario Police College, which is in Elmer. And currently, right now, they're opening up a secondary office in Cornwall, um, because everybody from the province of Ontario had to travel and live in Elmer, and it's a bit of a burden for a lot of people from east of the province and definitely from up north. So they're breaking that up to try to have some classes happen in Cornwall, some happen in Ontario. During my time in Toronto, I was 4 weeks of really, it was just 4 weeks of physical training before we went to the Ontario Police College. It's 12 weeks of training at Ontario Police College. And every day we had a class called defensive tactics, which is how to defend yourself, how to grapple a little bit, but it's bare bones minimum.
Mm.
And honestly, it was nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And then back in Toronto again, we had another 12 weeks back in Toronto on my day. And along with, criminal studies and highway traffic act and trespass to property and liquor and booze and laws and testimony, blah, 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 and driving and shooting, there was an aspect of defensive tactics, but it is not required prior to coming in that you have a black belt or a belt or whatever. It is just very encouraged that you do so.
Yeah.
The difficulty is that in 12 weeks they need to take somebody who has had nothing to do with policing before in their lives, jam a ton of information, and they just don't have the time to focus on a full day of wrestling or fighting or however you want to call it.
Yeah, okay.
So it would be a benefit to do that on your own time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know what, if folks get on the job, join a gym, because you're going to want to stay fit. You're going to want to stay up with your cardio. And some of the gyms have jujitsu clubs and things of that nature, so you can get into that.
Yeah, okay. What are your biggest regrets career-wise? Big one. Something you could go back and change.
Oh, you know what? I honestly don't have. I may have one, but over the course of my 30 years, everything that I've wanted to try or have a shot at, I've been able to accomplish in some form or another. Maybe not immediately,
Yeah.
but through some work and preparation and things of that nature, I've been able to do it. When I left Toronto and I came to a small town municipal police service, um, I had the hopes of becoming a sergeant. So going from police constable to sergeant, supervising a group of 4 to 10 people in their daily activities, checking over their reports and their equipment, and make sure that when they need assistance, they're there for them. That's what a good boss does. A good sergeant is there for his boys. But when I came to the town of Shelburne Police Service, there was a sergeant already in place. And until that sergeant retired, there was never going to be another sergeant.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I was able to take courses and do things and, in a capacity, act as a sergeant in the town of Shelburne. But the opportunity to actually become that boss never happened in Shelburne. So that is a bit of a regret of mine. Leaving Toronto and coming to Shelburne kind of put that on hold. In Toronto, each shift has 3 sergeants.
Okay.
There are 4 shifts in each division. There's 9 or 10 divisions, and then there's crime units have sergeants, and detective units have sergeants, and warrant units have sergeants. So there's a lot more opportunity. There would have been a
Yeah.
lot more opportunity for me in Toronto to have become a sergeant in Toronto. However, by coming to Shelburne, I was able to start my family and have my family. I was able to work where I lived and where I grew up as a
Mm-hmm.
young person in the town of Shelburne. I was able to make an impact with a number of different communities within Shelburne, a number of different organizations, and I did a lot of different side jobs within the police organization in Shelburne. And then when the town of Shelburne Police was amalgamated into the Ontario Provincial Police in 2021, they looked at my accreditations and some of my certifications and my training background, and I've been able to do a number of things with the OPP that I would never been able to do in Shelburne. Snowmobile training,
Oh
ATV
yeah.
training,
That's fun.
okay, and that has rolled into now some instructional training and things of that nature, which will roll into the Center of Forensic Science here so a little
Yeah.
bit. So, but like I said, I've done a lot. I've been able to get a lot of courses, and if you were to ask me to list off the courses and certifications and things that I have some knowledge on, I'd have to get my list because it's massive.
Massive
You
list.
may think your old man's a bit of a dumbass, but
Bro, I don't.
I actually, I've been able to do a number of things
That's good.
over my years. Yeah.
So on that note, what career choices would you repeat if you had to go back in time?
Repeat?
Yeah.
I wouldn't give up my time in Toronto for the world.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give it up for the world. It was great. A small town country boy went to live in the city. And as a young police officer, the men and women that I worked with at 52 Division in downtown Toronto um, molded me into who I am now as a police officer. And smart people. I made some dumb rookie mistakes, like driving around with leaving your lights on, and you're driving downtown Yonge Street, Yonge and Dundas, and my coach officer, he didn't correct me
Oh my
because
gosh.
how do you learn?
Right.
Right. So I probably drove
That's
a
funny.
lot around 52 Division with my lights on or things of that nature, paperwork mistakes. But again, it's all a learning experience. And Toronto was so busy that if you had to learn fast and you had to adapt to what was going on, or
That's the
the city
place.
would eat you up.
Yeah.
City would eat you up. And uh, I learned, I don't want this to sound um, too philosophical or too
Mm.
smarty, but I learned that men and women, that humanity can be savage.
Right.
Okay, you grow up in Shelburne, and the only
Gosh, yeah.
the only thing you see in Shelburne is maybe the local drunk guy that's staggering downtown, or every now and then there might be a fight at the local bar or at the Legion,
Yep.
and you hear about those things, or you may hear about some domestic violence issues within the community, family members and friends that you're aware of. In Toronto, again, just based on population and the fact that there's more people there, more things happen. There were times when I would look to my coach and I would say, how could somebody do that?
Yeah.
How could that happen? Offenses against children, sex related offenses, human trafficking, prostitution, um, things like that. And you just shake your head. And without a good coping mechanism and a good way to vent your frustrations and concerns about these things. And luckily, I had that with my senior coach officer and shift mates down there. Um, that's why this job eats people up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't. I don't know what the percentage is, but there are people every year that within 6 to 8 months quit the policing field.
Yeah.
So
You ever go to therapy? Is that offered through
yeah, oh
policing?
yeah. So now back in the day, back when I got hired years ago, um, therapy was available, but people didn't take the opportunity to use it because you'd be seen as weak,
Yeah.
soft, right? Now that viewpoint has changed over the years, and a lot of the senior guys who were exposed to that, you're weak, you're soft mentality, who are still on now, have seen the benefits of therapy and sessions, either through your own or um, in this particular case, an OPP psychologist or things of that nature. It works. It does help. Have I been to therapy? No, I've never been to a position where I felt that bad. I've never,
That's good.
thankfully, suffered from PTSD,
Yeah.
um, uh, but that's very prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the beauty of the OPP is that they have a fantastic unit of mental health counselors and people. It's their full time job. So no, and I'm I'm bragging on the OPP because I'm very happy with that organization. But every police service has that now.
Yeah.
Every police service. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, in your, regular life as a police officer, what cases would you say you deal with most here? Like driving impaired?
Domestic violence
Okay, yeah.
and driving.
Mm.
No, not necessarily impaired, but a lot of driving complaints about poor driving. So aggressive
Okay.
driving, road rage incidents,
Yeah.
motor vehicle collisions, and impaireds.
I just said impaired because it was the first thing I
We'll
thought
get
of.
him. We'll get an impaired every night up
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Every night, guaranteed. Last week when we were working, we had 5 impaireds in 3 nights.
That's crazy.
And to look at some of the people that we deal with in those aspects and know that they're on the road and you're driving from Mississauga back home on a weekend,
Ooh, yeah.
and people that are this inebriated are out there on the road is some scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. What are the rewarding or challenging experiences that you have had as a police officer?
Rewarding.
Yeah.
Um, I think the recognition of your peers and your coworkers, and to some extent the recognition of your senior officer, so my sergeant or staff sergeant or inspector. So there's those are the 3 bosses above me that work in this area, that you've completed a good investigation or you were able to mentor a new officer and help them out, and to get and that knowing that you're not lazy
Yeah.
and that you're not afraid to work, because we signed up knowing that things are going to be busy. We signed up knowing that I could get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We signed up knowing that I could lose my life on this job.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I'm fearless, I do have a good dose of apprehension and fear in my mind when I do go to some calls, knowing that I could get hurt or injured. But you got to go. You got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not willing to um, come to the realization that that is going to be your life for potentially the next 30 years, don't join the job.
Mm-hmm.
Don't join the job. So rewarding is and I pride myself on, like as I stated, I'm right now focusing. Although I'm a general patrol officer, I take all calls. I've taken on extra responsibilities into the drinking driving program, being the impaired. I'm a breath technician for the 9,000. I teach the breath technician course. I'm a field coordinator, which means I'm a senior, and a new term they've come out with lately is impaired specialist.
Mm.
So I have focused really the last 2 years a lot of my energy into the impaired program, teaching and things of that nature. And you know that because I've been traveling to Sault Ste. Marie, North Bay, London, Windsor,
Mm-hmm.
Trenton, Toronto to teach this course with a couple other instructors here in Ontario. So when I finish teaching a course and the students come up to me and say, on day one, and a lot of these folks have never had anything to do with the intoxilizer, right? They may have stopped the drunk driver, but we're looking for new breath technicians. We want people to be able to take the readings and to understand the instrument and to be able to testify in court. And after a week of teaching these new people, and either at the end of the course or shortly thereafter when they find out that they've passed, and we're very proud of the fact that we've only got a 2.5% fail rate of
Ooh,
everyone we've taught,
that's good.
and that's 1,900 students.
Oh, wow.
Only 2.5% have
Teach
failed.
my classes.
It's a very difficult exam. It's tough, but for them to contact me later and say the way that I was able to teach or to get that message across stuck with them, and they appreciated what I did, and the fact that since I've been teaching, I've had students contact me on my days off in the middle of the night. Hey, I got a problem with this particular aspect, or blah blah blah. The fact that I'm willing to drop everything if I can and speak with them and help them and assist them.
Yeah.
Um, and for me to know that they know that I'm their go-to if they need it, that makes me happy as well.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for awards and certificates. We get certificates and stuff like that when you pass a course. That's great. That's me feeling good because I passed that course. But for me to get an award or a certificate from a boss or something like that, I'm not looking for that. But as with anyone in any profession, little recognition from a boss. Hey, you know what? Great job last night. You did an excellent call. Or
Yeah.
Joe Citizen called in and said you were so nice to his mother when you pulled her over, when she was having a bad day and you helped her out and things of that stuff is cool. I like that.
I always love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you know what? The OPP, the Ontario Police College, whatever police service is training their officers, are going to train you, and they're going to know through the hiring process and through your first little bit whether or not you're a person who can take confrontation and work with it, take confrontation and deal with it, or that you're going to freeze and that you're going to be overwhelmed. And unfortunately, we've had some folks here in the past year, they had become overwhelmed, and even though we did everything we could to assist them and things of that nature, they quit the job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't want to hire people that are going to be overwhelmed. If like they're going to expect it because
Right.
you're new to policing.
Of course.
But if you can't take a little bit of stress in a little bit of change and be able to pivot on a dime, something's going this way and then you get called away and have to pivot and be able to, and boy, you better be organized. Organized. You know me and the OCD. I don't have OCD and I'm not making light of people in the community who have OCD, but
Just some.
I've got a small version of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You've got to
Some
be organized.
tendencies.
You've
Yeah.
got to be organized.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of a set routine in my mornings and a set routine in the evenings. And so, yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
I would be overwhelmed.
There you go. Well, I'm glad you're in the science field.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Speaking of science, do you commonly interact with forensic scientists? Obviously, probably more so in Toronto than you would in a rural area. If so, how or why?
So that's not, I'm not, what's the fancy word I'm looking for? You assume when I worked in Toronto, I dealt with the scientists more?
Yeah.
Nope.
Really?
So presently now, my position as an instructor, the Intoxilizer 9000 breathalyzer course um, is a course that is hosted and maintained by the Center of Forensic Science.
Oh, right.
Okay, so that particular course, in order to keep certain accreditations across the province and across Canada, has to be run by scientists.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the science aspect of it, which is the calculation of blood alcohol, infrared theory, Lambert's law, a whole number of different aspects. And then the instructors are there. We know what they're talking about, but we ain't rocket surgeons, right?
Rocket surgeons.
Right? We know what they're talking about. We can talk with them on a fairly decent level, and then we teach the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And by kids, it could be anyone from 20 years old to 40-year-old, but we teach our students.
Yeah.
And we're there to show them, the scientists are there to show them the science of blood alcohol concentrations, the effects of intoxication and impairment on driving, things of that nature. We're there to teach them the law, teach them how to run the instrument, teach them how to apply. So there's that. I was a scenes of crime officer in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Our fingerprints that we took, and shout out to Knapp. He worked in Toronto when I was in Toronto. Our fingerprints go to the Toronto Identification Services. But at the time I was there, if we had a blood swab, a semen swab, saliva swab, anything of that nature, that went to Center Forensic Science, and we would have that quite often.
Yeah.
And there was a building at 25 Grosvenor, which was in my division, which was the original Center of Forensic Science building there.
Cool.
So one of my first contacts with CFS people, I went to a postmortem. There was a gentleman who died of some suspicious circumstances, And at that time, they will order a postmortem to determine cause of death and um, toxicology results and things of that nature in their body. And when these things happen, a police officer has to be there. And I was a scenes of crime officer, so I photographed and documented a number of autopsies and things of that nature. So I didn't become really well known with certain specific scientists when I was in Toronto, but as scenes of crime, there was that. Come up to Shelburne, again, impaired driving where we can't get a breath sample. He's got a broken jaw or he's unconscious or things of that nature. We would, through a process, we would either obtain a warrant or we would seize blood samples from the hospital. Well, those blood samples have to go somewhere to be analyzed. That's the Center of Forensic Science.
Right.
So we would send that off. And then again, too, photographs or chunks of door frame that had tool mark impressions in them, those would be sent to the forensic science and they'd be able to tell me, well, that's a wrench or that's a screwdriver or that's a whatever, right?
That's so cool.
So that kind of stuff would all be sent off to the Center of Forensic Science.
Mm-hmm.
Our officers, and I know it's going to be one of your next questions, so I'm just going to jump into it. Are police officers given certain training in regards how to deal with the Center of Forensic Science?
Yes.
And the answer is no.
Oh.
Okay, so as a frontline road officer, in regards to evidence, broken window, glass, blood, semen, clothing, panties, underwear, where
Same
you're
thing.
told,
Yeah.
don't friggin' touch anything.
Yeah.
Okay, number one, don't friggin' touch anything. And if it's a crime scene, don't even go in there if you don't have to. Okay,
Right.
so that's what you're told. Scenes of crime officers are the frontline people that are going to be the first people that would attend a scene.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a scene minor in nature where I can take a blood swab and submit it and it would go to CFS, great. We would deal with a lot of that. Fiber transfers. One of my favorite cases was I had a gentleman who was wrapped up in black electrical tape. He was robbed.
Oh wow.
He was wrapped in black electrical tape.
Yeah.
I kept all that tape. I sent it to the Center of Forensic Science. They peeled it apart and they pulled off prints.
That is.
And we got the bad guy.
So
but do you know
cool.
how much tape? Like
A
it was a
lot.
ball of tape. And for that poor scientist to go through, I mean, it was crazy. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool aspects in that. Now, as a scenes of crime officer, if I went to a scene and it was massive and it was horrible, I would call for they call them an identification officer. So a senior identification officer. He's a police officer
Mm-hmm.
who's got a heck of a lot more training than just me, who got 2 weeks on a camera and
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks on powder and fingerprints and taking swabs. That senior officer would come and then I would be his shadow.
Okay.
And he would process the scene and the scenes of crime guy would stay there.
Yeah.
So something is being sent to the Center of Forensic Science from the police services every day. Every day.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, so no specific training for a frontline police officer. Don't touch anything. Stay out of the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Scenes of crime officers do get decent enough training to be able to do a minimal job, and I enjoyed that job. One of the rewarding circumstances was we call it a hit on a fingerprint.
Yeah.
So to get a hit on that electrical tape fingerprint was really cool. But one of my fun things is we would recover stolen vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And people would touch the mirror or they would touch
Yeah.
So if I got a hit and I was able to put a bad guy inside a vehicle and we know that he stole it and I did that, like we would have never known until I got that fingerprint. That's cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. So that's some
sure.
rewarding circumstances like that.
Yeah. Shout out Wade.
Shout out Wade Knapp.
Wade, love that guy. How do you find forensics useful in solving cases?
Oh, buddy, like I said, we just we touched base on that with the electrical tape. We would have never known who the accused, the suspect, the bad guy, the bandit. We call them a lot of names.
Yeah.
We would have never known who he was without
Yeah.
getting that. We had a break and enter in the town of Orangeville. We thought we knew who it was. A young SACO officer. I went down and I just oversaw what he was doing. Blood on the floor. I said, buddy, there's your first blood swab. Get it? Blood swab. Down at Center of Forensic Science, they ran the DNA profile. Well, the guy was already in the system from previous matters, which would require his DNA to be in the system. So now we put a bad guy from 2 hours away inside a building that was B&E'd. He's got no reason to be in there. We got him, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So forensics, there's a lot of work, and in regards to the drinking and driving program and the impaired program, um, they there are a certain group of scientists, the Center for Forensic Science, that focus strictly on BAC, blood alcohol concentration, toxicology. And without their assistance, the program wouldn't be in place. We wouldn't be using the instruments that we're using. We wouldn't be able to, if we have difficulty with blood alcohol concentrations, we we wouldn't be able to get the data that they give us. If we get blood samples, they do all the calculations for us. They help us with testimony. They help us with court prep. So we rely on Center for Forensic Science, not, I don't want to say specifically, almost specifically, for a lot of stuff. And we interact with them a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you ever get into the science or no? Not a science guy?
Into the science?
Into the forensic science?
If there was a section on impaired driving and the intoxilizer and what I'm doing now,
Yeah.
um,
Toxicology?
toxicology. But if you were to throw me in front of a blood vial and say, calculate the blood alcohol concentration in that blood, I mean, obviously they would have to train me, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to know beforehand, but I ain't real good with math. I mean, it would be interesting. It would be interesting, but I have a lot of fun being on the road doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those are all the questions I have for you.
Excellent.
So, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And I don't know how to do the outro. Thank you.
Do something else. Watch the IVNI podcast. Yo, V4 VI.
IVNVI.
Yeah, something like that.